Yeah.
What is that?
Let me get this one running.
You know you're gonna be on TV, did you?
Okay, go.
Go?
Go.
All right, since it's 6:30, I'm gonna call to order the regular meeting of the Tilton Planning Board. First order of business is to review the minutes of January 24th, 2012 meeting. I think you'll find a copy. Has everybody had an opportunity to read over the minutes?
Yes.
Are there any additions, corrections?
I have a comment.
Okay.
I wasn't here to this meeting, and I apologize for that, but I was amazed at how much was accomplished at this last meeting. And I want to take this opportunity to compliment my peers who were here. They did a great job. And when I got to the end of it, I was very pleased to find that there were several things that they put extra time in and discussions and so forth. Made a couple of changes, eliminated a couple of things
Right.
that I would have been concerned about. And just want to take this opportunity to compliment all of you, because I wasn't here and you did what I would have pressed you to do if I had been here.
Wonderful.
Thank you. All right.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of January 24th, 2012.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Right. Abstained? All right. The next part that I just love, because I never see this till I come in. I guess I should come in and read it beforehand. The first is a letter from the State of New Hampshire Department of Transportation on the proposed Dollar General store. And it's about a trench permit and a letter dated on the 28th of December. It says that they've reviewed the submitted application. It includes a traffic generation and parking data letter from Zaremba Group, and above referenced plan and letter. And as shown on the site distance plan, the left turning bit, we talked about this, like, remember they need to put another turning. It says that since this is not an option and the department considers the current proposal unsafe, we must deny your application. So that is what, after they submitted something, it said it is unfortunate that access management is not considered. Access management was not considered when the owner of the parallel subdivided this lot recently. And so I guess that we will wait to hear, see what happens next on that. The next is a request from for the Kim Ayers Award nomination request. It says the natural environment plays an essential role in our quality of life. Each year, the Lakes Region Planning Commission would like to recognize someone who has made an extraordinary voluntary effort over the years to maintain and improve the environmental quality of the region. This recognition is made through the annual Kim Ayers Award. So if anyone can think of anyone who they like to recommend for this, you can contact Barbara Perry at 253-9932.
And there's a form there that.
And there's a form to be filled out, which Gus will have in her office, if you can think of anyone. I can think of a couple of people that might be appropriate.
Can't nominate yourself.
I wasn't going to nominate myself. The next is the Tilton petition warrant article. It says, Dear Ms. Marsh, your question makes a lot of sense given the emphasis lately on keeping extraneous exploratory material off the ballot. This is, remember when the warrant article was presented on changing the zoning on Route 3? We had some questions, and I think there was one of the public had a question about whether or not it was worded legally.
Right.
And so Gus pursued that, and it says the first sentence does explain the content of the question. The problem is, without the first sentence, the article doesn't identify the zone in which the proposed uses would be allowed. In other words, the warrant article, as presented by the petitioners, can't be changed as a result of that first sentence, which one of the members of the public stated was they thought was incorrect. So the warrant article is going to stand, and that's the ruling from LBC. All right, the next is tree and shrub sale that is going to be held. Plant sale deadline, if you have anything to sell, I guess it's March 14th.
A purchase.
Purchase, I mean, is March 14th, and the trout sale, the deadline is April 20th. So again, if you're interested in purchasing any trout or trees, that's very alliterative, isn't it?
Right.
Okay. Again, there's environmental services newsletter that will be in the office. There's the minutes of the Tilton Conservation Commission from January 16th, 2012. And there's a note in here on Winnisquam Village. And it says that, let's see, I'll read the whole thing. Jeff Berg, representing R.J. Moreau, presents the details of a subdivision that was approved by the planning board in 2005. As only a portion of the project has been completed to date, wetlands, driveway, and alteration of terrain permits have expired, requiring new applications to be submitted. The second entrance driveway will impact less than 1,000 square feet of wetlands. Catherine Dawson pointed out that the town owns the land where the driveway in question enters Route 311, which would require an additional permit from the town for the driveway and a conditional use permit for the wetlands. Mr. Bird was advised to get further information relative to exactly what was approved by the planning board and what will be requested for permits. Bob Hardy asked him to include how he proposes to control runoff down the second driveway access, snow storage locations, and control of building runoff. So that's important. So, are there any questions or comments about that? It doesn't surprise me that it has expired and that they would say that. And here's a wetlands request for the Winnisquam Village.
Right. That's their application.
That's their application. Okay. And then this is from the Department of Environmental Services again. And it says, pursuant to RSA 541A:39, please be advised the Department of Environmental Services accepted an application on 2/9/2012 for the permit program and subject property referenced above. And this is the shoreland application at Laconia Road, Route 3, Tilton. Okay?
And that's it?
That's it. That's the part I like least. All right, our first case tonight is planning board case. It was a continuation. It was John Bernard's for 570 Laconia Road. And John sent us a note saying that he would like to continue the planning board case 11-14 until March 27th. The ZBA case was continued to February 21st, 2012. And he just says, thank you, John C. Bernard. So I'd like to make a motion that Mr. Bernard's case number 11-14, conditional use permit for 570 Laconia Road, be continued until March 27th
At 6:35.
at 6:35.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So you're going to notify Mr. Bernard then that was accepted? Okay. Next is planning. I think two of you did at the same time, but you weren't around. All right, the next is planning board case 12-01, site plan review. The applicant seeks to have realty office and bakery at property located at 570 West Main Street in the general commercial district. It's tax map R26/17. Has everybody had a chance to look over the application? Okay, it seems complete.
Make make a motion, we accept the application.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Judy, would you like to address the plan?
What am I supposed to say? Tell us
Sell
what
us
you're
on
gonna
the,
do. Or what you're doing.
I thought that's okay.
Well, we just want you to sweat a little bit.
Oh, isn't that
You know how much
nice?
public speaking.
As much as I do.
The
We
real
just
estate
gotten a
office,
podium for you, I guess.
the real estate office will be going in where the former Country Rose gift shop is.
Mm-hmm.
And then next door to it, you can see by the picture, there's a little 300 square foot building, that's the bakery.
Oh,
Not very exciting. Well, to me it is, but to you it's probably not.
What
And
are
I
in
see
these
you-
buildings already?
Pardon?
What's in these buildings already? They're like, as far as the bakery, is it just a shell at the moment?
That was a little residence, a little one-room
It's a very attractive little house,
studio cabin.
but it's a one-room thing.
Yeah,
And,
and then next door was the Country Rose gift shop, and it's full of lawnmowers and stuff.
You have a lot of work to do to make that.
Oh, boy, no.
Oh,
I don't know
somebody
much-
has a lot
I
of
don't know
work.
much anything about
And I see you got your updated curb cut.
Yes.
Now, I don't know, I'm just asking for my own benefit. I know that you're doing the bakery there, which is delicious, by the way. Do you have to have permits through the state for
Oh,
doing
absolutely.
that? Yeah.
Food service licensing comes out, we have to renew our license once a year, and they come out minimum of once a year and inspect.
Okay. And has,
And we just had our last inspection 3 weeks ago?
the fire department been out there?
Yes. Yeah, he emailed Al after he came out and looked.
Okay.
Is the trailer park portion of that property still functioning as
Yes.
a trailer park?
Yeah, there's 5 mobile homes back there.
And you own that as well, is that correct?
Correct. There's currently 4 mobile homes, so if you know of anyone wanting to put a mobile home in, we have an empty pad.
Well, that's good to know, though. There's something wrong with it.
Oh, by the way,
Single wide, 14 by 7.
And
Just as an aside, I thought it was interesting, I had talked to Judy about the curb cut, and Judy told me, I think it was just a matter of days from the time you called DOT until
he came up the
they
next day.
came over the next day. So I thought that was quite a nice response to get from them.
Yeah.
So,
I called him late afternoon, and he came late afternoon the next day. He was,
Mhm.
Must have been really nice. Oh, see, there you go. All right, does anybody have any questions or comments?
Well, go ahead. No, you had questions first. I was trying to ask about the surface.
Oh, okay. I just happened, I drove through there to familiarize myself today. But I happened to notice where you have parking space number 8, there's a bus.
yeah, that's for sale, that's out of there. That was a former youth group bus.
But I just noticed that, and then I noticed several unregistered vehicles there, or vehicles that had there.
Hoods up. That would
No,
be my
not-
son's.
Well, they had, on the license plate, all the tags were expired, they were white tags, for the year, so they would indicate that they were expired. I didn't know if that would affect your business here, because just seeing that Ace parking spot wouldn't really fit well with that bus already there, so.
But I don't believe we need 8 parking spots for the bakery, because if we have 2 people there at the same time, that's
Yeah,
an amazement.
Well, you had to assume that you're gonna have your business grow, and therefore need the 8 spaces. So the bus has to move.
Well, with 6 acres, I think we can find a place for it.
Yeah.
There's plenty of places.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
okay with over the curb.
And
Yeah,
the
that's
surface
not a
is
problem.
it was an impervious surface, there's no need to change that, or no? Or
It's
is it-
currently mostly gravel.
Yeah.
driveway, all gravel, and then, off to this side is all grass.
Setbacks are all
Lawn.
fine there.
The plot is going to stay the way it is that correct?
The
There's
parcel
no-
itself,
There's no, yeah, and I mean, the pieces of property, is there going to be any changes to the two pieces of property that we're talking about, the bakery and
no, just paint.
that's.
What color?
You don't actually do cooking in the
house is
bakery.
pink at the moment. I mean, the bakery's
The
pink
bakery's
at the
pink.
moment.
You didn't wanna leave it pink?
Oh, no, I put it pink, I made it pink.
I've been there several times, and when Judy's been busy with weddings coming up, and I think there's only been one other car there anytime I've been there. To say I've been there several times, both to pick up things and all, so this isn't gonna be a bakery that's gonna have 20, it's not gonna be a Dunkin' Donuts type
Right.
bakery. A lot of the things she does is to take orders, she does a lot of weddings, so I can't ever foresee that much traffic going in and out of there.
Yeah.
Although you did comply with the request for the curb cut to change the use.
Yeah,
Well,
in that
hopefully
area
real
is-
estate will pick up and,
But nowadays everyone does real estate on the internet,
yeah.
so building is actually a moot
That's
point.
true,
You don't
yeah.
really use the building because,
Yeah.
so everyone comes online first before they ever come in to visit.
Right. I don't have any more questions, everything looks to be in
I
order.
have no more questions.
Greg, do you plan on opening?
I am at school during the day, so I can only be open a few evenings a week and Saturdays. So this builds enough I need for the school, or real estate, so we'll sell something.
You might be surprised, I might just call you.
I've sampled her wares and I've only gained 33 pounds, so.
That's all? Oh, well, how
Done better
good
than
can
I
it be then?
Did you want some cookies then? I mean,
Yeah.
All right, if we have no further questions,
Well, I'm hung up on the cars thing. Is there a town regulation about unregistered cars on a lot of land?
There is an RSA about unregistered vehicles.
'Cause, I mean, there's at least 3 or 4 cars on there that just,
Well, I believe the RSA, you can only have one unregistered car.
I'll check it.
Okay.
Put it into compliance.
Yep,
that just, it just seems.
okay.
What about delivery trucks bringing you supplies or?
One, shouldn't admit this, but once a month, the tractor trailer comes down. The rest I go get.
oh, what is the story on the unregistered cars now that it keeps being brought up?
The bus is for sale. What else?
I knew that.
I gotta defer. What else is unregistered?
There's only one, the bus is the only thing that's not.
There's a Jeep on the other side of the bus, there's a Jeep
Oh,
out
that
there.
one.
That's,
to the
no,
tenants.
that belongs, there's 6 residences.
But it's
there,
one
so
lot of land, so.
There's 6 tax cards in that property.
Yeah,
Tho-
there is.
There's, those mobile homes are independently
Across from
owned
the
by
bus,
the
there's
families.
2 or 3.
I have 7
there's 2
families living in the property. So if you wanna, is this by tax card? Because there's, each one of those
Yeah,
mobile
which
homes
ones
has
are
its own
the
tax
people that have
card,
the
they're all
trailers?
taxpayers.
Do they belong to, the
Yes.
cars belong to the people that have the trailers?
Right.
And so presumably, if they have a right to have a trailer in there, they must have a right to have a car.
Right,
Or
this,
a vehicle that can.
they all
move
pay
the
their own
trailer if
tax bill,
necessary.
or each
Well,
of them.
when you come in on the left, there's also 2 cars sitting there as well, so.
There
No,
shouldn't be.
there aren't any cars, there's a truck.
And that's
Well,
it.
it's a vehicle.
That's all
There's a
that's
truck
there.
and a van. And the van's registered and the truck is registered. He doesn't have a plate on it because he's in the process of getting it inspected. And if you want me to bring in all the documentation.
No, I
for
just,
registrations,
I'll
gladly address
No, that's a
your,
very
Yeah,
valid
that's
concern.
point.
No, it's,
You just noticed him and he's constructing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you don't
Well,
want
I'm thinking
you
just
want
for
a
business
junkyard.
wise too, you'd want
Yeah,
it
you
to
don't want it to
look,
look
to
junky.
look good, you know.
Absolutely.
right now, we're worried about plowing snow and that hasn't been much of a problem, but.
Okay, there's no, are you satisfied?
Yeah, good.
Okay, I'm gonna open it up to the public. Are there any abutters that comment? make a motion to close it to the public, there's no one here. If there are no other comments, the planning board will close the discussion and make a motion that we accept the request from Judy to establish a bakery. All in favor?
I'd like to put a condition,
Okay.
compliance with state fire code.
Isn't that what the fire department came up with?
Yeah, well, we put it on everybody.
Oh, okay. You already got that.
So it's accepted with state fire to make sure that it's in compliance with state fire code. Try it again. All in favor?
Is there, one more thing, is there any, let's say, rules or regulations concerning the condition of the driveway that goes in there?
No, we have, she got her driveway curb cut from the state. They dictate what the entrance to the driveway will be. And as far as her driveway, that's really, the only thing we have in the subdivision is we did put a condition in the subdivision regs that the driveway had to be able to support fire or emergency equipment. And I don't think that we would have any problem with that.
Maybe that they would want to look at that. I drove in through there today, and the driveway is in poor condition, to say the least.
Yeah, the winter potholes are pretty.
Yeah.
Turning around is.
It gets filled in grass every spring, and the fire department has been in to inspect
Could,
the ingress and
get in
egress.
without having some difficulties.
But it was just saying that it gets filled and regraded every spring.
I think we haven't had a lot of snow this year, but we had a lot of cold and thawing, and that just
The frost heaves are abound
yeah,
everywhere.
exacerbates any problems with right-of-way. So I expect that would be cleared up in spring. I've been there in the summer, was there this past fall, and I didn't have any problem.
It's just a gravel driveway, anyway, isn't it?
Okay. Again, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Go home and bake.
Please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a few more minutes. I met with Sandy the other day, we can use this time now, I met with Sandy the other day. I had some questions on site plans, and we discussed it and talked about it. So Sandy and I decided it would be a good idea to come up with some rules and regulations for site plans so that those of us who are new to the board would have something to go by when it comes to what we're looking for in site plans. Some of you are old timers, so you know all of those, but some of us have questions, and I had questions as to why, who has to do a site plan, how come this one had to and that one doesn't have to, and I just wanted to be sure that I understood it, so Sandy put together some plans, and I think Gus has some, we can look at them.
It is 2 pages to this, pass everybody 2 pages.
Okay.
We're a little further away here.
Okay, there, I got long arms.
Yeah.
Okay, and unfortunately Sandy sent me these, and I take two, there's 2 sets. Sandy sent me these, and
Yeah, there's the project and then there's the application
Yeah.
kind of change.
And,
Proposed application.
she emailed them to me, and I didn't look at them till tonight when I was checking to make sure that Gus hadn't updated anything. But in a cursory look at all of them, I didn't see any additions or changes. I thought it was very, very good, Sandy.
Thank you.
It might look a little different, Sandy, because you sent it on something else and it kind of moves when I bring it
Oh,
in.
yeah.
So I have to play with it.
That's fine. I
Yeah.
didn't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I think you use Windows 7 and when it comes
Yes.
into my open office, it goes through.
Right. I have a set.
Thank you.
But I thought that something like this would be very good for us to have in front of us?
Mhm.
It answers those age-old questions, do they need the site plan or do they not? And it gives you some basic things to look at. Well, yeah, they are gonna be moving walls around, or no, they're not gonna be moving walls around. So I tried to address all of those. And if the board likes these changes, then of course we can also have a set in the land use, which will help Gus and Al when people come in and ask if they're going to be required to do a site plan. I also put on here on the back page just something else to consider adding to our site plan regulations, the whole section here on when you bring an applicant back in who has not done anything with his site plan approval, when you're going to take the approval away. And it's just some of the rules that would apply, and it follows along pretty much with the RSA, but in simpler terms. And, you know, so that it might not hurt, it would be a reinforcing thing to also have something in our own site plan regulations that would go along with what the RSA is saying, so that it would, you know, if there are cases out there that you would want to revoke, you know, for, there could be several reasons. Say if you have an older site plan that it's been sitting there and nothing was ever done to it, they're not vested at all, but by today's standards, that site plan would never be approved. You know, maybe it was done 8, 9 years ago and it's just sitting there, it's a paper approval on nothing, on something that never materialized. So by, you know, according to the zoning changes that we may have in place now, without some serious, you know, going to the ZBA and stuff, maybe you wouldn't approve it, or it couldn't be approved. So it does give you a way to go after these approvals that were done years ago, and they just never did anything with them.
I know there was one, the first year I was on the planning board, when I first year I was on the planning board, there was one that came up with condos, and the time was expiring. And I think all he'd done is put some more gravel down, or changed the direction a little bit, but that did satisfy doing something
Yeah, I don't
within
know.
that period of
I don't
time.
remember which one you're talking
But anyway, so those are the reasons I had questions, and I also didn't understand why some stores could just change businesses, you know. It seemed to me that they had been vacant longer than maybe some other one that had to come in for a site plan, so.
Right.
And I didn't have a clue about the fact that if you move walls around, that's gonna make a difference. So it was very helpful to me just to sit down, that's why I asked Sandy to do it.
Yep.
What I'd like us to do is maybe all of us take this home, look at it, and in our next meeting,
Yep.
see if there are any changes or additions.
Yeah, you might think of something I didn't think
Then,
of, so.
and then we can accept, so we put all of our heads together.
I think we certainly need to give some thought to how much has to be done as a minimum in order for them to maintain the approval over a period of time.
Right, well, that's what when you approve something, say like you're approving a new development, especially, if you state right in your approval what you expect to see for substantial improvement over the course of time, and you can even give a time, say like if you make the announcement that within 1 year you want to see most of the infrastructure done for the project. That would be your roadways and perhaps utilities. Now, unless they come in for a specific reason, you know, in an appeal to the board that they, although they can have some of it done, they can't get it all done. And then you can go on that basis, but once you establish something like that, getting the approval, and then they know, and they have X amount of time, 1 year, whatever you give them in order to accomplish it. If you don't put some kind of amount of time in there and what you expect to be done, then the 5-year rule would apply. In other words, they're safe from any zoning changes for 5 years from the date of the approval of the plan. So it behooves the board to, especially with new, to go ahead and put something in place, establish a timeline, so that if at the end of the timeline they haven't done anything, then it is the board's.
They have to start over.
I think there are also some state laws involved and some things being grandfathered too, aren't there?
Well, there is grandfathering, but like in a case like this where you have site plans that are being approved and then not acted on, there are a few cases out there. I can think of one that did have to wait almost 4 years, but that was also a condition. They had to wait until the sewer line went in order to start the project. But even with that, they did go forward with the infrastructure. So it's just the idea that, you know, they're letting you know that they're serious, they're gonna go forward, but it was a restriction of a condition of approval that they could not build any buildings until the sewer line was in and they could hook up to the sewer. So, you know, it does happen sometimes that they do take longer, but it's usually for a reason. But to just approve something and then 2 years, 3 years, 4 years goes by and they haven't even turned to shovel in the dirt. And then these are the ones that you really don't want to leave on the books. So,
And Sandy, how do you determine how much time they have to do whatever?
well, like if you have a site plan and you make a determination, if you give them 12 months to at least put, say, half the infrastructure in for the development, the 12 months, the time would start on the day of approval when everything was signed and the notice of decision were completed. That's your first day. And then you would go forward from that date. If you don't put some kind of a timeline on it, then they have 5 years, according to RSA. It used to be 4, but now it's 5.
Now, how do you determine whether it's a year or 5 years or whatever?
By your conditions of approval that you put on them.
Do we have a review process for anything that's approaching that time frame?
You can. In the past, that's what we've done when time was drawing near. Or the same way when an applicant was moving forward, there were times that they'd be called in and we would do a review of how they're doing, you know, on large projects. We did that with Conover. There were a couple of them that we had come in and just, they would give progress reports.
Right. But what about some of these, Judy's here in front of us.
Okay.
Let's say, just to use you as an example, okay, now 5 years down the road, she hasn't done anything like that. Do we pull these files out and say, okay, Judy hasn't, put her bakery in, and we're gonna pull this from her and notify her of that?
Well, it's gonna be harder in her particular case because she didn't actually make a bakery.
No, she isn't building anything.
She's using her home, her personal kitchen, I take it,
Yes.
for all the cooking.
Okay, perhaps a
So-
bad example, but
Yeah,
if
Well, let's
somebody
take
comes in-
MB Tractor,
okay.
Okay.
That's good.
because that's one that we have, and we know that they have the property, they came in here week after week, we went through a lot with the
Right,
railroads and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I don't believe they've broken ground yet, have they?
no.
They haven't even purchased it yet.
They
Okay,
haven't
they
bought
haven't
the
even
land.
purchased the property. So if 5 years down the road, they purchased it, but they've done nothing, then I think we probably would.
Well, now you have to be careful because I know that they did file for and they did get an all-terrain, I believe it was an all-terrain permit for the lot. So they
Okay.
are working on the paperwork and permit part of the
Okay.
site plan. And
So as long as they're working on it,
yes.
all right.
Well, what happens too is sometimes people don't think about it, but if they've started the project, say they put the roads in, and they've done a few other things, and then nothing happens for a while. But they're still vested in the project. The minute they invest money in the project, and then, you know, a whole different set of rules come into play, and you can't just take it away from them.
All right, so we'll look at this over, see if we have any additions, and we'll
Right.
discuss it at our next meeting. So would you make sure that goes on the agenda?
Yeah.
It does, thank you very much.
Mhm.
All right, the next case, a little after 7 o'clock, is Planning Board Case 12-2. It's an application from Bill Doubleday. And I think this is a diagram was not put in the original, that Bill just drew, so I'm gonna pass that around. One side is gonna be used completely as storage, so if you wanna look at that. Did you look at that same?
I guess we did put something in there.
This is the one that that letter referred to earlier.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, but we'll discuss that when it comes time for information to the public.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the application as it appears to be substantially complete.
I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Bill, would you like to talk to us?
Tell us what you want to do.
We have a question.
Oh, I have one here. How big is your sign going to be?
4x8,
4 by 8? Okay.
that's what's allowed by town code, correct?
Right, yep.
Mhm.
Well, does he have a, like a main sign on the property?
There is one big piece there, it's right in front of Meltaway. I don't know, Lenny.
The sign, the sign frame and the posts that exist there are way in excess of what's now allowed by
Right.
code. There was the True Value sign,
Okay.
which was a 32 square foot sign. Then there was a steel chainsaw sign
Mm-hmm.
that's still present, the True Value sign. The panel is gone, but the box is still there. There's a steel chainsaw sign that I think is 4 by 4, which is 16 square feet additional. Then there's another panel, it's probably 1 by 8. So, and then there's a top panel. So what Bill is suggesting would be more in the following of what the town regs read. The only thing that may change in the future is, I understand that there's a certain area of that building that right now isn't being, or is not going to be rented, or is not under agreement. And my understanding is that if another tenant goes in there and rents 1,000 square feet, then they are allowed to put up an auxiliary sign of a certain
Yeah.
size, but
I was just going to ask you if you had considered putting up what we
electronic
refer
radio and
to
stuff.
as the plaza sign. And the plaza sign, you'd have one sign in the ground and all your tenants would advertise on it.
I would consider anything that the planning board thinks would be appropriate to the property.
Well, I mean, it would make it easier for you too, you wouldn't have signs all over the place.
The only issue there is that right now it's 2 lots of record,
Okay,
and it's there was a preliminary. I should be standing, I guess. I'm sorry. There was a preliminary done to actually subdivide 504 Laconia Road. That wasn't able to be done immediately. That was when John Bernard had the property. The reason that wasn't done immediately was the sewer lines weren't in.
right,
So the reduction of road frontage
yep,
kept that. So everything had been done, and my understanding is that the only thing that would have been required in the drawings are here, would have been the fact that the sewer is in.
Okay,
And it's installed separately, so we're receiving 2 betterment charges on it, and there are 2 separate water lines, so everything was done so that it could be divided into 2 lots. Again, that's the 504 Laconia.
right.
So I don't know, I don't know, has nothing to do with his sign, so I don't know whether I can really put up a plaza sign, because it's 2 different lots of record, and it may become 3 different lots of record.
Well, I would put it this way, then you would have a plaza sign for each lot. If you have multi-businesses,
The only place where there may end up being a multi-business on the lot is the 496.
okay.
And, you know, whatever the board feels would be appropriate, we would do for a sign there.
Okay.
All right, is there sewer now? Is there,
There's, to the building, what was done was, when they were running the sewer lines and everything, because that building sits low, Mike Reardon had come in, and the sewer line and the water line are run down to the building. The sewer is in a pump station. So what's going to have to happen at some point in time is, when the building is occupied, we're going to have to install the pump station, and then take the line from the bathrooms in the building and run them into the pump station. But the pump station is a very large pump station.
but there are bathroom facilities there
There are,
in the building?
there are bathroom facilities in the building that are right now not usable.
Okay, are they going to be before you start? That, I
Yes.
guess that's my question.
Yes.
That there will be sewer, and
Yeah.
there will be running water at the location.
Yes,
before you open.
what's happening now is, we'll have equipment over there, because we're running all the power underground. And so while we have that, we will do the necessary digging to bring the sewer line into the building and hook up the bathroom.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Any other questions from the planning board?
And as far as your exhaust and your sawdust and everything, you're gonna have
I'll
a
be
system?
inside.
It'll all be inside, you'll be collecting it?
It'll be collected inside a dust bag system where all the fine dust goes up into big, large white bags. And the heavy dust goes into like 55-gallon drum bags. We zip time off, and then farmers come get them, put them in the back of their truck, take them off to the farm.
Okay,
So there will be no dust on the exterior of the building whatsoever.
Nor in the showroom, is that correct? It'll be sealed from the, so that it won't be going into the showroom.
No, there will be no dust at any point in time in the show area or anything.
okay, and you're not really making any changes to the building?
No, I'm not doing anything
No
to
new
change.
walls?
No new walls, no nothing.
Okay,
What about odors from finishing furniture?
We've got a full automotive spray booth that's going in. It's fully, fire department will be taking a look at it. And it's got its own makeup air system. And it will allow to be able to bring in clean air and filter out clean air. That's what's gonna happen with this system.
There'll be no smells outside the building?
None whatsoever.
It's a downdraft system.
It's a downdraft system. It's full automated. It's a fully automated downdraft. It's like you'd see in any automotive spray booth area. It's exactly what's going in there. So there will be no fumes whatsoever being exhausted outside at all.
What about the noise?
You won't be able to hear me.
No.
No. The way the building's gonna be insulated, and the way it's gonna be divided off, it's gonna be divided off with fire rated doors, and you will not be able to hear a thing out of that building.
All right, what about parking for
parking is something that Lenny has always had there in the front of the building, for when he had the hardware store there. It's all going to be basically the same way.
Okay, if you need to contact the state for
Yeah, he already knows that
Okay,
he needs
so,
to get
alright,
another curb
okay.
cut.
another curb cut, all right.
Right, he already knows that, he knows that he's gotta go ahead and do that.
All right. Any other questions, comments? Then I'm gonna open it up to the public for comments, questions. I have a letter that I'd like to read into the record, however, from, to the land use office. It says, regarding tonight's meeting to review idea of wood shop on 496 Laconia Road, a woodworking shop should not be allowed between two restaurants. One restaurant has seating outside, which would be compromised by the noise of a wood shop dust collection system, dust from woodworking, and the smell and sanitation issues associated with porta potty usage, as there is no sewer or running water on the premises of this property. Tonight is Valentine's Day, which poses a hardship for most, but specifically those located out of state. Although notice is appreciated, this meeting should be held at a more appropriate date when abutters can attend. And then thank you, concerned Tilton resident and property abutter. I have no idea who that concerned person is since they didn't sign their name.
Well, I think we've,
Addressed,
Pretty much
I think
answered
all
all
of these
those
issues have been
questions.
addressed. There will be
Yeah.
sewer, there will be running water on the premises before you open. The noise will be negligible.
Right.
Won't you have a dust collection system that's
It's
will be fully
inside, I can show
operational?
that, I didn't bring a picture.
And there will,
Yeah.
so I think that this is,
I have a picture of a dust collection system if you'd like to see it.
So the whole dust system is gonna be self-contained?
It's inside.
So,
It's not even outside, it has nothing to do with being outside whatsoever. You just give me a little time here, I have a lot of
Go right ahead.
information in here.
Jeff, move over a little bit, the camera's like this. Thank you.
is it going to?
This was what was in that building before. I built that building in 1985,
You connecting to
so
Shelby?
you know.
We're already hooked up to the water.
You're already hooked up?
Yeah, the water
Just
was
the
already
sewer.
in, right. And the sewer is 8 feet from the building.
Okay, okay.
It's already been like that, the
Okay.
pump station is there. It just doesn't know what happens, and you need to come out of the building, it's in
Right.
the sewer lines.
Okay, thank you.
they do have one.
Another thing is,
While you're doing that, I just want to see Lenny. I have a bum leg.
Of course, I can now find what I want. You lose interest after a while. So many different things we have to look at.
what are the arrangements on that site there for waste removal?
That is, all that is guys, when those bags fill, because it's tied to the garbage bag.
Not just sawdust removal, any other waste you use, any dumpsters or anything like that?
Oh, no. I got farmers who come get this all done, come load their trucks, and off they go.
What about your scrap wood and stuff like that? What do you do with that?
We usually give that away to our local, like to use it for kindling wood. They bring their trailers over and we set it in the back of the building and fill the trailers up. The only thing that would be there for dumpster would be for garbage.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to get at, where would the dumpster be placed?
I would put it in the back of the building, out of sight, out of mind.
Enclosed? Fence around it?
Yep, I can do that, not a problem.
We discussed this swivel maybe before. That was they gave us a waiver on that. Otherwise, nothing to put in there.
You know, I mean,
Actually,
make
that was
this as
given
less
a dozen was
offensive as
there.
possible. I know I have to do something
Yeah.
at least amount of property.
He's from right away, because we had a concern about
Issue.
what pole that was going to be put in the underground. So I'm gonna see him about 9 or 10 o'clock. I'll find out whether I need to relocate him.
It's all right, we'll make it a condition of approval, that way.
You'll be able to see it's very clean system. It's a steel structure with 6 inches.
Bringing an application, you have to bring an application up, actually digging the right away. Please bring the application up and bring that up.
No, I won't have to have fun with going.
If you do, you can give me a
I got your
call.
number, I'll write it down on the case.
Thank you.
Possibility of hazardous materials that might affect that
None
stream
whatsoever.
going through there?
No. There'll be no hazard.
Oh, you want to?
Yeah, it's 528. 5,000. He's gonna be the DOT line. But that's just.
I wasn't trying to find it.
Well, it's that one piece of paper you took out, put in Jeff's thing, I know I'll need this, but
He's very organized. Oh, you were
I
right.
try to put everything in here that I've looked at and things that I've accepted, and I've only accepted the best of what I do. And, I know that dust collection is a major thing, and I'm not gonna put something out there, if I'm not, it's all inside, you don't even see it. But essentially, I can draw you a little picture of it and just take a look at it. It's a 5 round cylinders like this. It's about 25 feet long. It has dust filter bags that go up about 8 feet. And about this big rim that takes the dust down to 5 microns. And then the stuff that drops into the bags is heavy dust. You pull those off, you zip tie those up, you set them out, and then there's a lean-to area in the back. Send them out there, call the farmer, come load them up with the truck, and he takes them away, and see him he brings back the bags.
They're used for goat beds, I think.
Yeah. All right.
Any other questions, comments?
Yeah. Sorry. Hi, my name is Jeff Poirier. I own one of those restaurants. I own the Monthly right next door. I wasn't here for the entire meeting, so I've already heard you address a lot of my concerns. Noise, the dust, the dumpster was a big concern as well. One of my biggest issues is the sign. That sign out there is a nightmare, and I was hoping it would be addressed through this process, and I don't know to the degree it is, but the signage, the restrictions that I've had to be under for signage, and to allow that to occur, I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I've almost called the lawyer about it. So, the only thing I want to address through this process, because I think you have addressed all the other issues that I would be concerned with, and I want Lenny and others to be able to do what they want with the property. But the thing that I was hoping this board would address is that sign. In some way or another, put a condition of approval wrapped around that sign. And I don't know to the degree you can, given you know, legal mandates to that, but again, the restrictions that I've had to go through for signage and the feedback that I've gotten for some of the things that have been done, and to allow that to just stay like it is in its current condition is just, it's beyond me how that occurs.
If that sign's cleaned up and done up right in that specific spot, is that gonna be okay with you?
Yeah, it just, right now, it looks like a broken down piece of.
This is what he's proposing to sign.
That's what I'm talking about, putting in there.
And again,
And
if
be
it's,
nice and clean.
and if the other
Thank you.
sections are kind of taken care of, I think, you know, that'd be fine, but that sign needs attention, and I guess that looks fine.
Do you have any issues with that, Lenny?
Pardon?
I'm
Do you
sorry.
have any issues with that,
Yeah,
Lenny,
it's-
like
it's half the
fixing up
panels
that
are broken,
sign?
half of them are
Yeah.
missing,
No,
it's,
you
know,
can-
rusted broken, you know, all the wires are sticking
You
out.
spend all the money you want.
And he's,
If I take it under my end, if I, you know, work with him and get him to, we'll work together to clean that up to your satisfaction,
and that's fine, that, you guys are great, you got, Lenny's been a great, you know,
right?
I have no problem with that, I just wanted to address it, and you might have already addressed it, and I walked
Yeah,
away.
Lenny said that he'd be willing to do whatever the planning board requested when he came to sign. He said that earlier.
Yeah, and if you can make that current, and to the degree I've had to conform and make it, you know, nice, that'd be great. And,
You know, and it's like I said, you know, any concern you have about any of the noise or dust or anything, it's all contained inside the building, you will not hear a thing.
yeah, and I, you
And
know,
I'll be one of your best customers.
and I appreciate that, no, I think you've addressed the other issues that I would be concerned with, and I,
Okay.
you know, and that was my main issue, and that's the reason why my wife is probably screaming at me now, so if I can leave,
Okay,
I
Jeff.
thank you.
Thank you.
Nice.
I'm wondering if we should make some
You
kind
like
of
to screw
commitment,
Yeah, yeah.
sign-wise, cleaning up the mess.
Bring it home, Valentine's Day candy.
Well, it's not a double day, the property is in his, so let's see when he gets it.
So it's gonna be late.
Well, before I put up a new sign, maybe we can talk about that. We come before the board again and have you take a look at what we plan on doing.
Yeah, we will have to take a look at the signage that you're planning.
Yeah,
This
this sign-
This is,
I've already-
it's in your packet, Bob.
The question is, you know, can we put a condition on the
This is a
existing signs that
proposal,
Lenny has?
kind of a background thing, it's not.
Can I speak in defense of myself? There's no one here that dislikes what's there more than me. Because if there was a nicer sign there, it would have been put on probably by a tenant that was paying rent. So, you know, what's there is because there's no tenant in the building, it's a vacant building, and no matter what I did to change it, I would have had to come through a procedure, even because there are procedures. So if I wanted to make the sign smaller, I would have had to come here. And if I wanted to take down a panel, so everything was left there the way it was when we closed. And, so I'm more than willing to work with the board and whatever they say, that it now fits within the current realm of the regs. Even if the other stuff is grandfathered, I would waive most of the grandfathering. Okay?
Yep.
All right, is there any further comments or discussion? No more, okay.
Did you close it
Hmm?
public? Have you closed it public?
I'm gonna close it to public now.
Okay.
So mine is set.
Yep,
Not yet.
not quite yet, but.
Okay.
Well, you can't say anything anymore, you gotta sit down.
You
You
can
have to
sit
sit
down.
down.
now.
All right.
Good, thanks.
All right, it looks to me like there's any more comments. I think there should be conditions, number one, the sewer and the water. So, all
It's not that cute.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the site plan for case number
12-2.
1202, for William Doubleday with the following conditions. That, he's already spoken to these, but I'm just putting them on the conditions of approval. The downdraft system for the finishing of the product, the closed self-contained exhaust system for getting rid of all of the sawdust, an updated DOT curb cut, compliance with state fire codes, connect to the sewer, the dumpster with a inside a fenced-in area, and compliance with the Tilton signage regulations.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Sounds good.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Go.
Thank you.
Happy
Thank
Valentine's
you.
Day. Thank you again.
Yep,
So you all done?
now we're done.
Thank
We
you
don't have to
very
take
much.
this.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank you.
I'll be back.
yes.
Sorry, I was
Yeah,
late.
you
So
will.
much. That's not bad.
Thank you all, I appreciate it.
What can I say?
I'd rather hug.
I know you would.
Hey, Scott.
All right. And last, but certainly not least, the final case for tonight is simply a boundary line adjustment. The applicant seeks to adjust the boundary line to make lots more uniform.
That's just a letter from Billy, Jane. He could not make it tonight.
All right, I think the property is, this is a letter from one of the owners, the other one's Scott Davis is here. He just says, to whom it may concern, we're in favor of a lot line adjustment drawn, which will be presented by David Kraus on February 14th. The change will not affect the size of our lots, but will improve the design of both our lots. We're asking Scott Davis to present this for us, and Scott Davis is here. It's squaring off the lots, basically, Bob.
The current property line follows the dashed. Oh, I'm not ready. I'm
Accept
sorry.
the, I'd like to make a motion to accept the application as it appears to be substantially complete.
Second that.
Motion and a second to accept the application. All in favor?
Aye.
Now,
Thank you. The Lawrences own the property on Chestnut Street. Mr. Davis owns the property on Linden Avenue. Currently, the line between the properties is somewhat irregular. It follows the dashed black line that kind of cuts between the blue and the red shaded parcels. Proposal is for the Lawrences to convey the blue parcel to Mr. Davis, and Mr. Davis to convey the red parcel to the Lawrences, creating a straighter line between the area.
it's a lot bigger to me.
Yeah.
Makes a lot.
WTF
Cleans the
thing.
lots up a little bit.
Well, if I would have been able to do this before, when I built my garage back in, I think, '96, I wouldn't have had to get a variance
Right,
because of the lot line being so close. I said the setback, I should say, on the
yes.
side setback. So,
And I'm assuming there's absolutely no wetlands on either one.
I don't believe there are.
no,
I
the
know
whole
it's
thing
pretty
is
high
mowed.
and
The
dry
whole
up
thing
there.
is mowed, Sandy.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I have no
No
questions.
net change, equal areas of fixed
Right.
lot line.
I have no questions.
Anyone else from planning board have any questions?
I mean, like,
She was in that 96.
yeah. Well, at that time, the Boston Cane holder owned the land behind me,
Oh.
and Mrs. Fox, and I just did not want to approach her. She was in her mid-90s, I guess, at that point. So it was just something when Billy acquired it, we planned on doing it, and it just, now's the time.
Okay.
I'd like to open it to the public. Comments or questions? Bye, Judy.
Thanks, Judy.
Right.
Close this as well.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the boundary line adjustment between Lawrence's and Scott Davis.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You waited long.
You're doing it with your sawdust and,
All right, no sawdust.
You have water up
Throw it
there.
across the
Yes.
line.
Scott, you have you seen the water company?
Yeah,
You sure?
I have. I have water and sewer both, yeah.
Okay.
1 mile.
Well, it's the water I was worried about.
Yeah.
Do you have a tower?
Gus, do you want one
No.
Mylar or two?
2,
2 miles.
2. Yeah, one for us and one for the
Registry? Do you need any paper copies?
2.
2. 2 and 2. I like it.
2.
I will have those for you in the morning.
Whoa. That's right, he's writing down. And checks, you, for the filing?
Those next week.
Now, I'm not sure if the L-chip needs that for boundary line adjustment. I'm not sure on that.
Do what?
L-chip. Now we have the L-chip and we have to have a $25 check when we bring that.
Over L-chip?
Yes,
Well,
and it
it's
has to be
changing.
made out to the Belknap County register, but I'm not sure.
Why don't you call me, Gus, I'll bring the checks in, whatever you need.
Hey, you
Okay,
can call him
You
in
can
the
call the
morning and
registry in the
ask him.
morning, yeah.
Yeah,
I'll call the registry in the morning.
and then give me a
ask
call
about
and I'll
it.
come down with check, whatever you need.
Okay, and your, Scott, what's your?
2863132.
I'm gonna need some checks too,
Yeah,
Scott.
Yes.
I
I'm
have
sure.
it on
Well,
my
I'll
cell
take
phone.
sure.
yeah, they're in the envelope.
I have it on my cell phone, I'll fix
It's not a stimulus package.
And I'll take a.
Yeah. But no, whatever you,
Just bring
whatever
the
you
whole
find
book.
out you need.
And that was 3162, right?
3132.
See? 3132.
You added the money to it, that's the
Yes, I
trouble.
did. Okay.
All right, thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank
Thank
you.
Okay, thank you.
Have a nice Valentine's Day.
it. You too, Scott.
Thank you, dear.
Okay, we have one more thing. We talked last time about apartments, in-law apartments and homes. They're being rented, so let's talk about that some.
I wanted to let you know, I talked to Brad Ober, the fire chief, about my concerns. We have people in Tilton who had in-law apartments, and those people are long gone. They sold and sometimes sold again, but anyway, the new people that are in these homes that have in-law apartments, some of them have been rented. Some know that it's not legal, some don't. You know, it just, but regardless of whether it's legal or not, which we all know it's not, but the problem that I'm having with it is if it were to go to court, I don't know that we could win that case. We allowed the apartment to be developed even though it was for in-laws. The apartment is there. Now, whether or not the court would uphold the fact that they couldn't rent it out to someone that wasn't family, all that is done is we have people that are renting, and the owners of the property in one case are, they are their relatives. You know, so they're not, but they're saying they are. And there's been different cases, but my primary concern when I met somebody that, you know, very nice people, they're both very handicapped, and they're in an upstairs apartment in a home. And my only concern was the fact that I wanted to know that 911 knew they were there. Because if there's ever a fire, these people aren't just gonna run out, like you and I might, because he's in a wheelchair, and she's physically very restricted as to how quickly she can move around. It did my heart good to find out that the fire department do know that they're there. So in this particular case, that worry was solved. But it seems to me like we have got to come up with something. Now, we can write letters and tell people that, according to our zoning, the apartment that they have is an in-law apartment and it's not supposed to be rented. But I don't know how the board feels, but I'm not really an ogre. I don't wanna kick all these people out on the street either. And I
We don't even know where they are.
Well,
Well,
that was gonna be my questions. Do we
I
have a way of
know,
knowing?
I know a couple of them, but I don't know all the places that might have apartments that are renting them out. But I guess my main concern is, and Gus and I and the chief, we've been sitting down and we're having meetings on bringing the 911 system up to date. And it is my contention that if these apartments are there, then we need to make sure that they have a 911 number so that if there's a call from that service, that they will know whether it's the main house or that there's an apartment in there and there's people in this apartment. So if there's a fire or a medical emergency, they can find them. And so I wanted to, discuss this with you because I don't want to wait until we've had a fire or somebody dies in their apartment because they couldn't find them. And this is the main thing, is to get them. We had one case to where the people told their renters that you can't use our address, you have to get yourself a post office box because
It's even hiding more.
yes, we don't want the town to know you're here. Well, that sounds great on the surface, but what happens if an alarm comes in?
Mm-hmm.
No one's gonna know you're there. And, this is, my main concern is making things safe.
I think that's probably all of our concerns.
Yeah.
Is the safety
Oh, I
issue.
feel that it is, and, those places out there that do have apartments, I can appreciate what's going on. We all know how bad the economy's been. And if you had an apartment in your place and it's just sitting there empty because your mother-in-law either moved out or went to Florida, whatever happened, and you've lost your job or your wife has lost it, you're gonna try and rent the apartment out and get income. It's just logical that it's gonna happen. But I would say to you that, I know we talked about it once before, but I think one thing we need to do is get the whole family apartment out of our zoning.
Mm-hmm.
Just remove it. If you come in and you want to enlarge your house, say for your mother or your mother-in-law or your brother, whatever it might be, you can certainly get a permit to add extra bedrooms, and bathrooms to your home. And that nobody's gonna say a thing to you about. But to allow a full apartment to go in, then how do you control that if you sell and new people move in?
Okay.
You can't. And it's like, a dog chasing his own tail. You're gonna constantly be going around trying to find violators, and I don't see how you can. And what about all the people that put in apartments? We're finding them through, anytime there's a revaluation done. Someone who's put in an apartment, that then when they go in to walk through the property, they come across these. And those that put those apartments in illegally with no permits and stuff, they have to take them out. We do stick to our guns that way, and we did find several the last reval that was done. There was one family, they had put 3 apartments in their home, but they had not upgraded the electrical, and it was a fire waiting to happen. It was a constant, and because it was done by the people, it wasn't done to code, no electrician was ever in there. Well, between the town and fire department, that all had to come out. So, we do catch up with them eventually, if they're illegal. But family apartments are there by permit and by legal doing. So I would suggest it's too late this year, but next year we just remove the whole paragraph from our zoning and just deal with it. If they want, somebody to come live with them, family members, then, they can build beds.
It's a change of use, they have to
Yeah.
come before us.
Right. So,
What are you
anyway,
gonna do about the existing ones though?
there's nothing, this is another one of those things, they're in there by permit, those that are legal. Now, those that aren't, that were just put in on their own with no permits and stuff, they're made to take them out, because they're not legal. But the family apartments that were put in by permit so that the town knows they're there, when that person sells his house and moves on, whoever buys it, they don't know. And sometimes they're not renting it because, they don't realize they're breaking the law. But it's very difficult. It's one of those things to where, how do you keep track of this? Are you gonna go pounding on the door like every 6 months to see if there's somebody living in that apartment? And in some cases, it's like, well, that's my fourth cousin's second, step, second move. So, I mean, but in my mind, it's like, I don't see to where it's really, we're not gonna advertise that it's a legal thing, but I do feel that we need to at least, through 911, put addresses on those apartments. Even if it were family members, you wanna know that, what if they knock on the bottom door and the people are, everybody's at work? You don't know that there's a whole other family upstairs.
But how are you going to find them though?
Well, some of them, if they're legal apartments, then they'll be part of their assessment cards.
Right.
And what about?
But we know about them already, we
Yeah.
just don't know about.
And then the only way the other ones get found is whenever a reassessment is done, a townwide reval, and then the assessors go into each home. They check each home and compare it to what they had before and make the changes.
If the people allow the assessment.
If they allow them, but if they don't allow them, I mean, it's, in order to get in to see as many homes as you can, if the assessor comes to your house and you don't allow them in, then they tax everything in your home at the highest rate they can tax it at. And, if you have nothing to hide, most people say, sure, come in and look. I mean, you're gonna walk through, you're gonna verify, yes, you had this last time. I mean, it might even be to your benefit. I know in our particular case, they walked through and the guy said, wait a minute, we're showing you with 3 bathrooms. And I said, I wished.
Well, we just, same thing, we just had to discover,
Yeah.
an error in our garage size. So apparently our garage is wider than our house.
But I mean, there's a,
So sometimes it's a good time to
Yes.
go around and measure.
yes. So, but anyway, so they do get found out, those that are there illegally.
Can you offer some type of amnesty type thing where, just to get a 911 address, write a letter to those people and say.
Again, you gotta know where they are.
We don't know where they are, that's
But
the
but you
issue.
know where some of them are because
Yeah.
it's on their assessment card. But do
Right.
those ones that are on their assessment card
They should be legit.
have a 911 address? So,
That's a mailing address. That would be a mailing address too.
Well,
Because
you
on our on the,
Well,
How do
generally
you put
speaking, doesn't 911, say if you have a house with an apartment in it, say the house is, for the sake of speaking, 50 School Street. Wouldn't the apartment in that same house be 50 School Street, apartment 1?
Or
it
50A.
is,
Or
but I won't know
50A.
that, I won't know that on the tax card. You wouldn't be able to pull that up on
But I
On
mean,
the
that
tax
would
thing.
be what 911 would give them.
911, and that would be a mailing address too.
Right. So
Yeah.
if there
So
was
that's,
someone
it's
there.
like 2 different things.
Right. If someone were there, then they would use the address, if they were in the apartment, 50A
Yeah.
School Street.
Or, yeah, or
Or
50 School Street, apartment
Apartment A.
1, or whatever
Apartment-
that,
yeah.
yeah. Apartment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
But I mean, I know, like, we're having a